The nuclear's out of work, it's an economic slowdown. When your brother-in-law's out of work, it's a recession. When you're out of work, it's a depression. What's a depression? What's a depression?
China and the United States aren't bonding so well these days. In fact, new data shows China is dumping billions of dollars in U.S. bonds. This amid tensions over a U.S. arms sale to Taiwan, electronic security, and also President Obama's visit with the Dalai Lama. We're here to talk about more of these breaking bonds. Philippe de Leon, the president of Trade Connections International. Hi there, Philippe. So we learned last week that top Chinese officials were calling to dump U.S. bonds in revenge for Washington's $6 billion arms sale to Taiwan. Is that what we're seeing here, the sort of economic warfare, or is China genuinely selling bonds because they're concerned about their own economic interests?
I think it's that. You're absolutely right. And I think we are at a time when everybody has some things to do and has been waiting for the right time. So we've been waiting to sell arms to Taiwan. We've been waiting to see the Dalai Lama. And the Chinese have been waiting to dump some of the bonds. The reason is you want to diversify your assets, and they have a lot of treasury bonds. In fact, they have 1/3 of their foreign exchange reserves in U.S. Treasury securities. So they really want to, diversify.
Now, many analysts didn't think that China would actually go through with dumping U.S. bonds, because the U.S. and Chinese economies are so intertwined. Is this a sign that China could be sort of breaking away from this interdependence?
Not exactly, because they only sold about 34 billion, and between May and June they sold already 25 billion. That's only about 3.4% this time. So it's not dramatic. It's just a signal that the Chinese say, watch out, we can go forward with what we said we would do, which was selling some of the securities. The reason being that the Chinese didn't want us to adopt trade sanctions against them. So they're like saying, beware, because we can do that. But you are also right in saying that they cannot hurt their own interest, and they can only dump so much, because if they dump so much, then the price of treasuries will go down, the dollar will depreciate, their currency, the yuan, will appreciate, and it's a snowball effect where other countries would sell their treasury bonds, and then
Well,
everything
speaking
will
of
go
that,
down.
what will happen? I mean, are other countries going to follow suit, and what consequences will that have for the U.S. economy if it's not just China?
I don't think everybody will follow, because if everybody goes, and follow the herd, everything will collapse and everybody will lose money. So I think everybody is looking at it carefully. It's just an adjustment. And, it's been in the air for a long time. Everybody wants to diversify the assets. It's just too much in dollars.
But let's not forget, President Obama just voted to raise the debt ceiling by nearly $2 trillion. If there isn't such a demand for U.S. debt, could the U.S. be forced to then print more and more money and trigger even more inflation, do you think?
Well, I think the printing is something that is in the air, but, I don't know what to tell you on this one. Yeah, it's
Inflation's already high, and people are saying, look, you're printing more and more dollars. Where are you getting this money? Are you getting it out of thin air? And now we have these foreign countries sort of saying, hey, we're going to dump some of these bonds. So a lot of analysts are saying that it is a cause of concern for the U.S. economy and also trade.
True. But I will tell you a quick story, because I think it's very telling. There's the story of the scorpion and the frog. I don't know if you know it. But imagine the U.S. is the frog and the China the scorpion. The scorpion wants to go across the river. The frog says, well, I can take you over my back, but I don't want you to sting me because I know you. The scorpion says, no, because if I sting you, you will drown, I will drown, we will both die. And so they both go together across the river, and halfway through, the scorpion sting the frog, and the frog says, why did you do that? And the scorpion says, it's my nature. But we're not in this extreme scenario where China would do that to the U.S., because if the U.S. sinks, China sinks and has a lot to lose. So I think it's just a question of showing, power, and also for everybody to adjust their needs. And I think the U.S. will again say to China, you need to help us with our trade deficit, and you need to boost your domestic consumption. That is something that has been asked for a long time.
And this is why we love having you on. Scorpions, frogs, China, the U.S.
Images are good to remember.
I know, images are great.
Yes.
Mr. Leon, thank you.
Thank you.